Let me double check. Any questions up to this point in terms of sharing the story?
Will debt-free continue even though
Yes.
you have the TPS?
Well, we're going to continue because here's the threat with this is that the IRS says, when you look at the criteria, we don't qualify to be a 501c3. No church qualifies based on the criteria. Well, they're not going after churches, they're leaving them alone. If they turn this on to churches, they all be in trouble. Well, they're not going to because politically they're just not going to do that. But right now, because there's money at stake, they're going after this. So it may blow over, it may not blow over, but we're not going to wait and see. We're going to have a plan B, and yet we have all intentions to let this go. Let it keep going. I thought this was going to go away a few times. I think this thing just doesn't die. Oh my gosh, it just keeps coming back. So that just tells me that, if it's going to be, it's going to be because the Lord wants it.
That's right.
And the Lord obviously wants this because there's every reason why this shouldn't be here. It's just amazing to me. And we got a solid team now. We're at a really good place, really good place. And so yeah, we're just going to let this thing go. It might become a very viable thing all by itself. Great. But we're not going to wait. We're going to move forward and make sure. With the business cards, we are going to be changing the business card for you guys, and we want to have the same effort, which is on the front will be your name and all the information that's pertinent to you and where you work and et cetera. On the back, it's going to be the standard, so everybody just begins to say, oh, this is part of the Turning Point Ministry, and everybody starts to realize, because there's great synergy and reputation that just flows from one ministry to the other. And let me say one other thing. I have 2 nonprofits, and I have 2 for-profits, and they're all about ministry. There's a lot of confusion, a lot of toxic thinking in the church about business and money. It's unbelievable, and we're going to do something about it. In fact, I got a 4-week series at my church at EV Free Fullerton on marriage and money. If most businesses were run like a marriage, there would be no business. You'd never get a loan. There's nobody plans, nobody does anything. And there's a lot of sloppy agape that goes on in the church in terms of business. And there's this thing, I've heard it so many times, and for a long time I'm like, oh, really? Gosh. It's like, you're really running this like a business. I thought this was a ministry. Oh. Kevin, we're doing something wrong. And so, we bowed to that pressure for many years. And we were thinking, you're right. Gosh, we should just give everything away. And then we're starting to get smart and realize that stewardship is all about being profitable. You look at the talents, it's about doubling your money. Now, it's how you do it is the ministry piece. Not that you do it. You better do it. Every business better be profitable. Every church better be profitable, or you're not going to have ministry. It costs money. And so that's why there is some real discussion and wrestling with this group. Turning Point Ministry Group is a for-profit organization. And you know what I also found in my years of doing this is that I'm more free to do bigger things for the kingdom in a for-profit entity than a nonprofit. I just get, all they have is restrictions over here. I'm not restricted here.
That's right.
Everybody's asking me this, and what about this? You can't do that now. Oh my gosh, and I'm just jumping through hoops for people. Here, I'm just going for it. Now, going for it, we have boards, we have accountability, but we're going for it. Over here, we have boards too, but we have lots of other accountability that's like, oh my gosh, people just, I'm trying to get something done here, and I'm jumping through all kinds of hoops. So, you'll find us running things like a business, like a good business, which is profitable, which will be good for you because that means there's going to be a business here to work for, or a ministry. That's what that's about. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to ask a question. Just about the business cards and all, putting the whole ministry group on there. When we talk about that as a group, we kind of talked about the ethical standards and whether or not it was ethical to have that on there, and or to be referring people to those different groups.
None of the groups are all these entities are separate individual entities. Separate boards, separate everything. There's no overlap. The only overlap is Kevin's and my oversight. But even in that, I'm not on the board of Turning Point Counseling at all. I'm just a figurehead, the founder.
Right.
So from that vantage point, and the other thing is that if you're gonna give somebody, I mean, you're just saying that we're part of this group. You're not making any recommendation, but you work for Turning Point Counseling, and Turning Point Counseling is a part of this group. That's what that's about. Now, if they go to it or not, that's up to them. If you suggest that they go to them, I would recommend that you give them a couple other recommendations as well, so that you get 3 choices and they make their choice and off you go. But being part of Turning Point Counseling is being part of the Turning Point Ministry Group. That's what that group's about, is helping revolutionize the quality of family life. Yes.
In other words, Turning Point does not get any financial benefit if someone refers a client to, say,
No.
Family Life Mortgage or TPS.
No. Turning Point Counseling, wherever, let's say if Turning Point Counseling refers to any of the company, wherever it's legal for us to say thank you, which is, we want to help this little company that, doesn't get much money to get any kind of donations or whatever it is possible, and wherever it's legally possible, yes, we will do that, absolutely. And in the mortgage industry, you can have a referral fee that goes back to the ministry, which benefits the ministry. But again, to keep it kosher, you give several referrals, not just the one. And we're not going to, certainly we're not going to reimburse you individually, because that's where it gets a little weird, right?
That's where the dual relationship
Yeah.
issue comes in.
See, now, but
The
the
therapist doesn't
ministry,
benefit
but the ministry will
financially.
benefit, and therefore indirectly you'll benefit, because if the ministry stays strong, we all stay strong, we all move forward.
Actually, what happens is the more we're able to do for you, and like creating the posters that we did, and the supplies that we give you, and that kind of thing. So you will benefit from it.
The other thing that really is a burden to me, it bothers me a lot, is that this, I don't know what we're making maybe $1,000 a month or, profit after everything gets done, paid, if that, on a good month. I mean, it's not much, I'm telling you, and the burden for me is that these guys are doing a fabulous job, and I don't think they're being compensated the way they need to be, but I can't do anything about it. The money's not there. We're trying to grow it, So any way to help get money into this company, either because of your efforts in marketing or anything from the group that can support this effort, fantastic. And as these companies, this one has a heavy debt burden because we bought it. We have to first pay off the debt. So once that gets free, once this is a startup, this one's a question mark, this is a startup. But the intention is once the for-profits are profitable, because they're owned by us and we're Christians and we believe in tithing, these companies will tithe, and guess where they're going to tithe to? To our nonprofits. I mean, why not? That makes a whole lot of sense. And I tell you, it's very difficult to raise money for nonprofit counseling. It's really difficult because you can't see what's going on. It's all confidential. It's all behind closed doors. You can't have it before and after. I mean, there's nothing. And the other thing is that when you do get funding, then you're controlled.